Welcome back, everybody, to Stay Tuned. This is episode 21. This week we'll be discussing Batman Arkham Asylum and a little bit about Batman Arkham Origins, but hopefully not too much.
Right.
Once again, I am Tim. I am joined by the lovely and always glowing Tom,
Yes.
who is to my
What's up,
internet
guys?
left as always. So, Tom, how's your week been?
Oh man, this was a long one. I'm glad it's over once again.
Yeah.
But it was an okay week, but glad that it is over and my weekend is finally here.
Yep, I agree with you. It's been a very, very, very long week. I'm not sure if there's something in the water here at Indiana or what it is, but it's just been a very, very long week.
There's definitely something in the water here. It's probably
Yeah.
count to her.
It's probably something that's not good for us, but yes. But it has been a very, very long week. But we get to
Yes.
talk about something great today, which is the Batman Arkham games, or at least
Yes.
two of the current three that are out. So, any fond memories you'd like to share before we get into the show about these games, or not?
Yeah. So Batman Arkham Asylum came out in 2009 when I was a
Yep.
freshman in college, and I remember I was in a program at IU. I went to Indiana University, where I went down there 3 weeks early before the start of like the school year to kind of get acclimated to the campus and meet some people and take a class, get a class out of the way. And like me and a bunch of the guys that were in there were like, oh, the demo for Batman Arkham Asylum comes out today. We should do that because we had just been playing FIFA and like I know we were doing like World at War Zombies and some other games and stuff like all in this little dorm room.
Yeah.
And I remember we were all like, oh, Batman's awesome, but none of his games have ever really
No.
been good since like the 16-bit stuff. So
Yeah.
we're like, oh, let's try it out, and it ended up being awesome, and it convinced like all of us to buy the game. So, and then I remember I was playing through it, and my save file got corrupted, so
Yep.
I had to completely restart. But I ended up beating the game in less than a day. It was like 2 sittings. So.
Yep.
I love this game.
Yeah, the Arkham Asylum. My wife picked it up for me when I was in Iraq. It came out, and I remember she mailed it to me, and I got it like a week or so after it was out. And I literally just sat. I got off of work at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I sat and played it till like 2 a.m. and I finished it in one sitting as well. It was
There you go.
not saying it's a bad thing. It was a great game. I think I picked it up when I got home on 360 and beat it again, and I've beat it on PC as well. This like in the past like 2 or 3 weeks. So
Right.
it's still 2009, like you said, it came out. Still holds up today. But as far as the storyline goes, though, Arkham Origins comes before Arkham Asylum,
Right.
and that one I think that came out in 2013.
Yeah,
Might have
I
been-
believe so.
Might have been 2014. I think it's 2013.
It was 13. It wasn't
Yeah.
last year.
And well, not much to say about Arkham Origins. Like the first trailer looked amazing. The fact that Deathstroke was in it, Killshot was in it, Black Mask was in it, I was pretty excited. And then
Right.
the game came out, and within like I think it was about an hour into the game, you realize that Black Mask isn't really behind anything. Guess who's behind everything? The Joker.
Right.
Because we haven't seen enough of the Joker in the past 2 games. Like nothing against the Joker. The Joker's great. They even had Mark Hamill come back and voice him from the Batman the Animated Series, which was fantastic. But
Right.
there's more villains in the Batman universe than the Joker. I think we were talking this week and we were joking like people that are like, I'm the biggest Batman fan in the world. We're like, name a villain besides the Joker, and they're like, Catwoman.
Yeah.
Who else?
The
The Joker.
Yeah, and it's like Batman has, of all superheroes, Batman has the best collection of villains. The most well-known villains.
Yeah.
Like there's so many options to choose from, and to go back to the Joker, while I understand he's the most recognizable comic book villain ever, it's just kind of frustrating to go back to that when there are so many other different inspirations that they could have drawn on.
Yeah, because like in the trailer that it's showing right now, like you see Deathstroke, you see Deadshot, you see Black
Right.
Mask, Bane was in this game. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember who all was in it, but I was so excited for Deathstroke. I love Deathstroke a lot. Slade Wilson, Deathstroke, is also in the TV show Arrow, which Arrow is on the CW is a great TV show, except I feel like it's Green Arrow versus Batman villains. Is what it is pretty
Yeah,
much.
I've never seen the show, but pretty much everyone says that it's like, yeah, it's pretty much Batman, but the guy's not Bruce Wayne, and he's not Batman. Like, but pretty much Green
Yeah.
Arrow is
Oliver,
Batman.
yeah, he's Oliver Queen. He's a millionaire. You know, it's the same story, but they live in the
Right.
same universe. But I mean, the Green Arrow doesn't really have a whole lot of good villains compared to
Exactly.
like the League of Shadows, Ra's al Ghul, Deathstroke, and so on and so forth. But anyways, back to Batman: Arkham Origins.
Right.
The I was just sorely disappointed when I realized I had to fight the Joker again. Like, I didn't really watch too many trailers. Like, coming off the Tales of Arkham City and how amazing Arkham City was,
Right.
then seeing this trailer with Deathstroke and Deadshot and Batman fighting, I'm like, Batman's the theme was like the slogan was like Batman's young, he's inexperienced, but whenever you play the game, it doesn't feel that way.
Yeah,
Like,
it just feels like all the other games. Like, it literally did not feel any different than the other two games, where Batman is supposed to be older and wiser and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, like I was really hoping like you fight Deathstroke as like your first fight, like your first storyline fight, and he's really easy to beat. It
Yeah.
took me 2 tries, and I think it was a total of like 8 or 9 minutes. And I was
Yeah.
like, really?
And
Like
it
one
wasn't
of
really even like, I didn't even enjoy that fight.
no,
Like, it
not at
was
all.
essentially just like, all right, we're gonna wait for this, and then I'm gonna hit A, and then it's B, and then XXX, and then wait for it, A, B, XXX. Like, it was just one big. It was essentially a quick time event, just not quite, you
Yeah,
know, as disguised as a quick time event. But it just wasn't like, it didn't really set a good tone for the game. Like, it was kind of cool because you go into the ship, and you're just like, oh, what is this? And then it's like, oh, you have this fight. Oh, this is cool, and it's just kind of pressing buttons.
yeah, because
Not
the
really any kind of skill or anything involved.
the whole story is like Black Mask pretty much runs Gotham City. All the drugs, everything pretty much, and Batman's pretty much raining on his parade, not letting him do everything he needs to do. So then he hires 9 mercenaries to try and kill the Batman, and
Just-
it's great for story, amazing for
Yeah.
story. And you're thinking I'm gonna have to fight my way through 9 of these villains, and I get to do like more detective stuff. It's gonna be great, and I think you're only supposed to fight what is it, Deathstroke, Bane, and I can't remember the girl's name that was in there with that was really quick with like the claws. But those like the only ones that you're forced to fight. Like all the other ones you have to go and find. And I'm like, why do I have to
Yeah.
go find these villains? Why are they not trying to find me? And I felt like the game just kind of fell flat on its face, after
Yeah,
it
it
came
did-
out.
didn't really make sense. Like, and I only played it for maybe 8 hours, and probably 6 of those hours were just messing around doing side quests. But
Mhm.
is like, if they're coming to find me and get the bounty on my head, yeah, why do I have to go find these people?
Yeah, I mean
Like,
you're
they
a
should be
detective.
they should be coming at me trying
Yeah,
to kill me.
especially I think it was like a 20 million bounty or $100 million bounty. I don't know. It was something ridiculous to where like
Yeah.
I would find that guy if I had to.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let him come find me. I understand like Batman's a detective. He's supposed to stop crime and blah blah blah. But I beat this game once and I never played it again. And it's quite depressing because I was really excited for this one, more
Yeah.
so than Arkham City. And I mean, it wasn't Rocksteady that did this; it was Warner Brothers Montreal. But at the same time, I still want to hold it to like a little bit of a higher standard. But just the whole Joker coming back again wasn't
Yep.
much of a surprise. It was kind of depressing, and I feel like it could have been executed better. But
Yeah, I love, like, Arkham Asylum is one of my favorite games of all time, and Arkham City is amazing. It's I don't like it nearly like quite as much, but it's still an amazing game.
Mhm.
And yeah, and this one, like, I never finished it, and I don't even care to finish it.
yeah,
And, like, part of it for me too was like I had so many technical errors with this game. Like, I know I've talked about this on previous shows, but like there are just times where I'd go up and I'd be flying over the city and I'd have to land on a building and I would just fall through it forever, and my game would crash and I'd have to
Yep.
just restart. Like,
I've had that happen too.
and it's like it's the third one in the series. Now, granted, again, it's not Rocksteady, but like it's the same game engine. It's all that same stuff. But why am I why am I all of a sudden
Yes.
riddled with technical difficulties? This doesn't make any sense. So,
Yep.
yeah, it's one where I really just never I really just never bothered to go back to it.
Yeah, I mean, like the story's okay. It's pretty good, for
Yeah.
video game standards. I mean, the game's gonna take you if you play just through the story. I think mostly took me like probably between like 6 to 8 9 hours, maybe a little bit more. I'm not sure. It's been
Yeah.
since like 2013 since I played it. I beat the game in less than a week, and I had no desire to go back and even touch it.
Yep.
Like I said before, so I mean, if you can find the game now for like, you can probably get it for like what, like probably $15-20
Oh
from
yeah, I'm sure.
GameStop or on
I'm sure
Steam.
Steam
Yeah, I
probably got it
mean,
for nothing.
I got it for like $3 on Steam just so I could try out the DLC where you fight, where you go back to like his origins when he's like with the League of Shadows, which is just a bunch of challenge maps where you just fight people. There's no
Right.
story. Again, it was another opportunity that they completely missed. So
Yep.
I remember buying this from GameStop at midnight, and they asked if I wanted the season pass, and I was like, "It's Batman, the Arkham series." Of course I do. I came home and I input the code, and it just gave me like $25 of like Xbox cash. So it didn't force me to buy the DLC. So I was like, "Oh, okay." So I just bought $25 of. Yeah, it was.
Huh.
I lucked out. I lucked out.
They messed up.
Yeah,
Jeez.
so I just had $25 of Xbox cash,
Right.
and after I started playing the game, I was like, "This feels not as good as I remember the other ones playing." So I felt like it was game's okay, but I felt like from Arkham City or Arkham Asylum to Arkham City to Arkham Origins, I felt like it was like a big step backwards. Like it
Yeah.
just didn't flow as well as like Arkham Asylum,
Yeah.
Arkham.
It's not a
City.
bad game by any means.
Yeah.
But just compared to the other two, it's a disappointment.
Yep.
And just looking it up on Steam, all three of the games are $20. So instead of buying Arkham Origins, you should buy Arkham Asylum and Arkham City.
Yes. Yes, so Arkham Asylum
Yes.
came out in 2009. Like I said, I got mine in Iraq. You got yours in college.
Yep.
And I remember I don't remember why I really wanted this game. I think I saw like a trailer and I was like, this looks really cool. I really
Yeah.
want to get this. And I did. And it was the greatest decision I've ever made, pretty much.
Yes. Oh man, it's so good.
Yeah, so if you want to go ahead, do you remember much of the story at all? Because I've been playing the past couple weeks, so I kind of remember a
Yeah.
lot of it. But you can go ahead.
Yeah, so I haven't played it since I beat the game when it first came out, but I kind of I've been watching videos and stuff, and Man vs. Game has been playing it. But pretty much the game opens up, and it's really cool because you're walking with the Joker into Arkham.
It's very cinematic.
Yeah, it's very cool because you're like wheeling him in, and the whole time Batman's pretty much thinking like, this is way too easy. Like, there's clearly something that is going on here. There's no reason why the Joker would have given up so easily on me, and let me take him in. So clearly something is up. And pretty shortly thereafter, things start to unravel. And pretty much the whole thing is that the Joker is allowing himself to be captured because he wants to go back to Arkham because there's a doctor there who has this Titan, which is
Venom on
pretty much
steroids. Venom on Venom.
Yeah.
Venom on Venom.
Exactly. Venom on Venom. Venom, the stuff that Bane takes to get all jacked up and Mr. Muscles. But yeah, so pretty much he wants this Titan and he has to find this doctor because the doctor had promised him like, hey, I'll if you fund all this research, I'll give this to you so you can have an army of of super soldiers. Which, looking back on it, that's a horrendous idea by that doctor. What a horrible idea.
They'll do anything to
Like,
fund
yep,
their research.
Let me do this, and you can have these crazy superhuman dudes with you, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then like while he's in Arkham Asylum, one of the biggest other enemies in the game is the Scarecrow. And the
Oh, I
Scarecrow
love the
has
Scarecrow.
his fear toxin. Yeah, the Scarecrow is one of, if not the highlights of this game. Like the way that those levels are played out, like you start hallucinating. There's one where it's like the Scarecrow is just this big, huge creature in the middle of this arena, and you have to avoid his gaze. And it's like his fingers are now syringes. Like it's a really cool look, and it's a very creepy, way to portray the Scarecrow, which I really liked. And it's like there's one point where you're in the morgue in there, and you open up you're like going through body bags, and all of a sudden one of the like just pops up at you, and it kind of scares the crap out of you, or at least for me, because I'm not a horror guy. But I really like the Scarecrow in this game. He's definitely a highlight of the game. And then pretty much the Titan formula, the Joker is able to get it from the Doctor, who gets killed, and then he uses it on Poison Ivy's plants, and Poison Ivy, who you fight once, and then the Titan formula gets through it, kind of like destroys most of the prison. It's really cool because you're kind of running around the prison the whole game, then all of a sudden, after you fight Poison Ivy and she gets the Titan serum, it's like they're just plants everywhere, just growing out of spots that there never were. It's kind of a cool way to, you're going through the same areas, some points might be blocked off or new areas might be opening up, but it's kind of a cool change to the landscape there.
Yeah.
You go down and fight Killer Croc, of course, which is a really cool fight because he's kind of stalking you from underneath the little areas you're running on. And then you go and fight the Joker at the end of it. And one of the coolest parts of this game is that you're going in and you know that you're at the end of the game because you go into a room and then there are all these enemies
and they're just clapping,
clapping for you. And you're just like, what the hell? Like, what is going on here? And of course it's just the Joker being theatrical and over the top. And the Joker takes Titan and becomes this big hulking monster that you have to defeat, which is admittedly the low point of this game. It's kind of unfortunate that the game had to end on a boss fight with a roided out Joker.
The last boss fight, like as I was playing through it, like the boss fights were great. Like you said, the Scarecrow scenes, I'll talk a little bit more about those in a minute. The Killer Croc fight, the Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy fights were great, but then the Joker fight just seemed like it was so out of place. Like overall, just completely like did not feel like it belonged at all. Like he becomes like this weird looking thing. He's like Bane on steroids with the Joker's face. Yeah. And it just wasn't. I mean, it was a good fight, but
out of place.
Yeah, I just felt like there should have been something else there rather than that. But
yeah.
But
pretty much you beat the Joker, and then the game is over.
Yep, that's it.
I mean, and the story's great. So some of the highlight of the story is that it's told really well, but it's also voice acted very well because it's all the guys from the animated series from the 90s, which, as an enormous Batman fan, was one of the coolest things. To hear Kevin Conroy as Batman, to hear Mark Hamill as the Joker, especially, was definitely special, and it really evoked, those memories of growing up and watching all those shows. So
yeah, it was because
the story is a definite highlight and a surprise.
It's because it's completely original. Everything, like the way that the characters look is, it's not out of the norm, but it's not like copy paste from like the animated series or from like whatever Batman it's not from like the Christopher Nolan Batman. It doesn't look anything like that. Harley Quinn looks completely different than what she did in the 90s. The Joker looks, I mean, it's like the Joker always has like the typical green hair, crazy smile, white face paint, purple suit. But I mean, it still looks different than what he's ever looked like before. Even like the Heath Ledger Joker, comes out in 2009. What was it? Batman Begins came out in 2005, 2006.
It was 2004.
Was it? Wow. And the Dark Knight came out 2008, correct? Yeah. So this is coming right off the heels of the Dark Knight. To just be able to be like, we're just gonna have characters from the Dark Knight come play this game. They did it though. That was like my favorite part of it. Like. Just, Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill just revising their roles was perfect. It was it was like my childhood dream coming true to see them again, since like the 90s animated series was over, which was probably one of my favorite cartoons of the 90s next to like, Rugrats and Rocket Power.
It's way better than Rocket Power.
Yeah, I know. It is, but just saying. But like you said, the opening scene to me was when I first played that, I just remember sitting there like, wow, look at all this stuff. It looks so good. Zooming in like on guards' faces and the Joker, just watching him, and then Killer Croc comes across the screen and says he has like Batman scent or something like that, and then goes down, and then everything just the plan just unfolds and the Joker's so
Right.
theatrical, like you said, and like the way that the combat's introduced and how the gadgets are slowly introduced, over time. It's not like you just start off and you have like a the batarang, I think, and that's it. And
Yep.
like a no, you don't even have the grappling hook. You get like explosive gel, the grappling hook, the line hook. You get all these gadgets, but it's not like they're just all handed to you at once. You slowly earn them to unlock new areas. It's how they uh, gate the game pretty much. And
Yep.
then my favorite scene with the Scarecrow was whenever he did like the reverse psychology, where like you think your game's freezing, and then like it resets to the beginning, and the Joker's
Right.
driving the Batmobile,
Oh
and
man, I was so caught off guard by that. I was like,
yeah,
what the what no.
yeah,
Not
exactly.
again.
It was just
Not
so
again.
so crazy just to see all that happen. It's just like, wait, what's going on? Why is the Joker pushing Batman down the way now? Then he shoots you in
Yeah.
the face at the end. Then you wake up, and it's just like anytime you ever have like I think of it like as a bad dream or like a nightmare or like the typical like you're falling. And then, like,
Yep.
as soon as if you die or something happens or you land on the ground, you shoot up and you're, like, wide awake and you're, like, breathing heavy and your heart's racing really fast. It just reminded me
Right.
of that. Like, and it was just, like you said, you're so caught off guard. You're just like, is this, like, Eternal Darkness Sanity's Requiem from the GameCube, or is this Batman Arkham Asylum on the Xbox
Right.
360 or whatever? But,
Yes.
yeah, just the whole game, the whole way through, I just could not stop playing. Like, this is, like,
Yeah.
a 7 to 10 hour game again, and I just kept going and going and going. Just like that level of progression was right there. Like not really an RPG style, like like The Witcher or
Yeah.
Skyrim, but enough to make you want to keep going and unlocking more abilities. Like the inverted
Right.
takedowns, like a necessity at the very beginning of the game. You need that. And the first time
Right.
playing, you might be like, "Oh, I need more health and armor so I can just fight more enemies or whatever." But and then
Yeah.
if you try and take like the full on grunt approach of just fighting everybody, you're going to die a lot because whenever you finally get introduced to people with guns, you have to be tactical. You cannot just
Yes.
run around saying I'm Batman, I'm gonna beat everybody up. Like you have to do silent takedowns as much as possible to leave yourself with only one or two enemies to fight at the end of it if you have to fight. But
Yeah, and I love that part of the game. Like, this is pretty much a Batman skin on a Metroid game. Like, it's all about gaining new abilities and weapons and using them to progress to different areas that you couldn't reach before. That you might have seen but were unable to access. And you grow more powerful as the game goes on. Now I know you haven't played Super Metroid, which is a sin.
I've played
Like,
quite a bit of it now actually. I need
Okay,
to finish
good.
it, but
Okay, good. So that's one. We'll take that strike away from you. But it was like combining Super Metroid and Batman, which are two of the best things ever. But like you were talking about with the whole like the different takedowns that you have to do. Like I thought that was one of the coolest parts of the game is that you have these sections where you're supposed to just fight guys. Like you're not supposed to be sneaky. It doesn't even give you the option. And then there are the Predator sections where it breaks it up and you're supposed to be sneaky. And to make those more difficult, you're right. Like it goes from just guys that don't have any weapons. They might have
Yep.
hand-to-hand weapons, but nothing else.
maybe a guy with a
to
knife
guys
or a
with guns.
crowbar. Yeah.
Exactly, guys with guns. You have yes, Arkham Knight. Very excited, Gamers Troop. Keep seeing this guy posting. Yes, Arkham Knight's gonna be great. But then it goes to the guys where if you knock them out, the Joker will start calling out over the radio. They're like, "Hey, we've lost somebody," or there are different ways where it makes the game more challenging, where they know that you are there and that you're trying to take them down. And one of the coolest things is that the enemies get progressively more and more scared. So you'll start seeing them when they have guns instead of just kind of patrolling. They'll be on edge as you're taking out more. They start kind of like
Yeah, freaking out.
looking around. They'll start just shooting out of nowhere, which they're not actually they're not really able to hit you much. But it kind of freaks you out because you're like, oh, they see me, but they're just freaked out because they
Yeah.
don't know what's happening. It gives you a lot of freedom to do whatever you want in that game. Like
Yep.
you could hide in vents and pop out and stealth take down everybody you wanted. You could fly in front of all of them and punch them to death, pretty much. Punch them into unconsciousness, I should
Yeah.
say. Batman doesn't kill anybody. But
Sadly enough, he doesn't.
or-
You're right.
Right. Or you could, use all your gadgets and knock him out that way. Like the game gave you so much freedom, to do whatever you wanted that it was a really cool and fresh idea at the time. You know, it's not like when that game came out, like Splinter Cell was still in the manner of like if you get seen, you're dead. Like you have to restart the mission. In this, if you get seen, you might get shot up a bunch.
You can
and
still
you can't really
escape.
take too many hits, but you can escape, and you can kind of, you know, reanalyze the situation and go from there. It was a really cool idea, and definitely a good thing to build off of for the future games.
Yeah, and I mean, something you mentioned, like he doesn't kill him, he knocks him out. I didn't realize this till I played through my last time. Whenever you knock somebody, if you actually look down at them, you can see them still breathing. I thought that was really cool.
You can
Like
still see their heartbeat.
I never realized that, but last time I played it, I was like, why is this guy moving? I looked down, I was like, hey, he's moving. I'm about to fight him again. I was like, oh wait, no, he's just knocked out. He's just breathing. But like you said, they get more and more on edge, and like the Joker makes funny things like, hey, there were 5 of you, but now there's only 3. What's going on down there? Like just being the Joker, that's Mark Hamill just nailing it, dead on.
Yes.
I mean, he's not just Luke Skywalker. He's like one of the greatest villains of all time as well, at least in the Batman world. But Arkham Asylum, for its, it's been, 6 years this August? And dear God, it's still like an amazing game. Like my friend Chris was asking a long time ago, like, hey, it was like that slump, like, early summer, no games really out. Everything that you wanted to play, you've already beaten. He's like, I need a game to play. And I was like, it was Arkham City, not Arkham Asylum. But I was like, he was like, have you played Batman Arkham City? I'm like, get it. I didn't even think twice. I was like, get it. He's like, well, it's $25. I'm not sure if that's a good thing. I'm like, well, the thing about Batman games is there's no real, like, after you beat the game and you possibly try and like 100%, there's no like what's the word I'm looking for? Like, there's no multiplayer to keep you playing it 24/7. Like, yeah, they add some challenge maps for like DLC, but overall the game is, once it's done, it's pretty much done, which is kind of sad. But I'm glad they didn't add multiplayer to it, because Arkham Origins added multiplayer and it was pretty terrible. I didn't even get to play it.
Don't waste your time. Like, I didn't even play Arkham Origins multiplayer because
I tried.
No reason not to ever play that. Like,
I tried to play it and you can't. I couldn't.
Like just make the most amazing single player game you can. Like, not every game needs to be infinitely replayable and all that kind of stuff.
I would rather have them.
This game does have a ton of stuff to do.
Yeah, you think like there's like the Riddler stuff as well that you can do.
Yeah,
there's a bunch of like
Riddler challenges.
There's side missions you can do.
Right, I did absolutely everything in this game, and in Arkham City too, which is kind of why, again, Arkham Origins disappointing. But this was a game where I sat down, I went through it, I did a lot of the side stuff, if not, I pretty much did all the side stuff that I could or felt like doing at the time, and all the single player stuff, beat it in like 12 to 15 hours, something like that. But then I went back and I did all of the Riddler challenges. So
those are
I really
rough.
I really liked how they put the Riddler into the game, is that he's not somebody that you fight, but he's always there.
Yeah.
And it's not, you don't have to do anything with him, but he's always there if you want to do something. Because on the map, there are all these little question marks that pop up everywhere, and it's, it shows you that there are still Riddler challenges in the area, whether that's get to this Riddler trophy that's out of sight, or use your detective vision to spot the Riddler stuff on the ground, or clues, or take pictures of something. It'll like give you a riddle, and you have to take a picture of the item that solves the riddle. And I really like that, because I love the Riddler, but it's not, if it was just, hey, let's go beat up the Riddler, like,
that's
that
not
would be
fun.
the easiest boss fight in the game, because he's just a skinny little guy that, is very, very smart.
His character more so in like even like the comic books is not really a person that's going to stand up and fight Batman. He's more of like hey, you can attack me, or you can solve this riddle and save this person over here. Take your choice.
Yeah, and I loved how they portrayed him in the game. And it was cool because a lot of it had like, kind of lore background stuff about Arkham, about the Arkham Asylum, or, just Batman in general. And all of them gave you like trophies where you could, view different models of the different characters and look at their backgrounds and stuff, which for somebody who loves Batman, like I read through all that stuff. I loved it all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved all the alternate side stuff that you could do in that game. Even the challenge maps. Like I did all those. I think I 1,000 pointed the game. If not, I like missed one challenge map or something. But while it's not as good as the story mode, because it's all by itself, it was still cool to like have, hey, you have to defeat all these enemies with these different stipulations, in this amount of time. Do it without being seen. Like that was a really cool challenge, to try and get those top rankings on those maps. Or if you're doing the combat ones, you have to pretty much do one combo throughout the entire thing in order to get that top.
Yeah, those ones are
score.
ridiculous. I can say that
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
But I like, this is a completely like Arkham Asylum is like completely, it's like all original. Like it's not like it's taken from the movies or like it might be in the comics, and like I know it's in the TV show, but
Yep.
like there's a couple of actually unique characters. Like the Arkham Knight for the upcoming game coming out like the 22nd, 23rd is a completely original character. Never,
Yep.
never in a comic book, never in a movie, nothing. This is like his first appearance. There might be,
Yeah.
just dear Lord, don't let the Joker be underneath the costume. I will probably just freak out and not be happy
That would
whatsoever.
suck.
Yeah, that'd be terrible.
I don't think it'll happen since it is a sequel to Arkham City.
Yeah, it won't. We'll get to Arkham City next week, but
Yes.
there's also another completely unique character in this, and this is Mayor. No, not Mary. Mayor Warden. Is it Quimby? Quincy?
Warden Quincy.
I think that's his name. I cannot exactly remember, but he's a completely new character. Never in any of
Quincy
the.
Sharp.
Yeah, Quincy Sharp. He's the
Yep.
warden in this. Then the next one, he's trying to become a political person, and the Joker's pretty much like putting a stop to that. So he's doing everything he can to try and cover this whole thing up. And Batman's trying to stop everybody. But I'm very curious to see what he's going to be doing in Arkham Knight, because he's been following this storyline as well. Like he was the warden in Arkham Asylum, Arkham City. He's the mayor. So I'm kind of curious to see what they're going to do with him in Arkham Knight.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be cool. And going back to the characters, like it's something. Some people might not like it as much, but I love the look of the characters in this game. Like this is very clearly an Unreal Engine game. Like all of these guys could be Gears of War characters if they really needed to be. But I love the way that this game looks. Like it's very colorful. The characters are literally like larger than life. Like everyone has muscles on their muscles. Even Commissioner Gordon, especially in Arkham City, looks
Yeah.
like he could
He's-
single-handedly destroy like Batman himself. Like he's jacked. Commissioner Gordon is jacked, which is kind of ridiculous, but I really like the look of this game. It really set it apart from the movies, but it also kind of set it apart from the comics, where that it's all the characters, but it's kind of in its own world, which made it feel like a more special kind of experience than if all the characters looked exactly like the animated series people, or Batman Begins, or the 1989 Batman, something like that. Although it was kind of cool using the alternate costumes in the challenge modes, like the Dark Knight Returns, the comic book one, the
Yes,
Frank Miller one.
that
where
is one of
he's
my favorites.
Old overweight Batman, or like Batman from the Adam West show, stuff like that. But I really like the look of this game.
Yeah, I mean, like the first playthrough, you have like the outfit which gets battered and torn as you go, which was great
Yes,
idea.
and that was super cool too.
Because like I think what is it? The first fight is against who was it? I just replayed this like 2 weeks ago. I can't remember who the first fight was against. But he gets like a scrape on his chest. Then like as you continue to go on, there's like more scrapes on the suit. The cape starts to get torn, and just
Yeah.
Batman looks like he's been through war pretty much.
Yeah,
and
and
it
it's
just
all supposed to take place in one night, which
Yep.
in one 12-hour period, which that really helps seal the story there.
Yep. But yes, it's Batman Arkham Asylum. If you haven't played it for whatever reason, you really need to do yourself a service and play this
One
game.
of the best
It's-
games ever.
Yes.
Ever.
If I had to rate this game, I'd give it probably 9.5 out of 10. The only thing that I found a downside with was the detective mode. I felt like
Yeah.
whenever I played the game, I was always in detective mode just because I could see through walls, see where all the enemies are at, see who was armed, who wasn't armed. Like, that's great at the beginning, but as I went on, I felt like I was just always in detective mode and just missing a lot of the scenery in the game. Like, it doesn't really take away a whole lot because the game's really revolved around the combat, which the combat is just fluid and probably the best
Yes.
hand-to-hand combat that there is out there even today, 6 years later.
That's why plenty of games have ripped it off.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Middle-earth, Shadow of
Yep.
Earth, stuff
Yeah.
like
Yeah. What is it? What they said? Middle Earth, Shadow of Batman, or Shadow of Arkham,
Yeah.
or something like that. Was like
Yeah.
the sub name that everybody's given it, which is another
Yeah.
great game, by the way. But no, like that was my only big takeaway from the game was just because I was always in detective mode, even in the first and the second one. I'm sure it'll be the same for Night. because I mean I have this power to see through walls and see how many enemies and how they are, so I can plan my strategy. How many do I want to take out? If there's 8 unarmed enemies, I'm like, this will be fun. I'm just gonna fight all of them. But if there's like 8 armed enemies, okay, what am I gonna do to disarm all these guys?
Right.
So just always being in the detective mode, I feel like you kind of miss a lot of the atmosphere of the game. Like, it's there for the cutscenes, but outside the cutscenes, I feel like I'm just looking at like a shell of a building. But other than that, the game is perfect in my eyes. Like, it could do no wrong. It is that golden chalice of gaming. But yeah, definitely like a 9.5 out of 10 for me. What about you?
This is a 10. 10 out of 10. I love Batman.
Saw that
love
coming.
Everything about this game. Like, yeah, detective mode, it kind of, it somewhat took away from everything, but
it's not like it takes away entirely to the point of where like the
Right.
game's not fun. You can't enjoy it because of it.
But it makes you feel like a badass, but you're not. You're still very vulnerable. Like, it's not like I turn it on and I'm never hit. Like, anytime you get shot, you're pretty much dead. Like, unless you get away super quick, you're dead. So yeah, and I kind of had to force myself to not use it at times. Like, even when I was just running around the world to try and make sure that I did enjoy the scenery. But even then, like, I just love this game. I love everything about it. Like, there are little nitpicks, like the game freaking destroyed my save file, but I don't care. Like, I still went back and did everything. I absolutely love this game. This is definitely one of my like top 10 games ever.
Yeah, it was on your top 10 list of favorite games of all time. It was not on my top 10 favorite games of all time, but I did have Batman on there, but it's the NES version, which is still one of the most brutal Batman games you'll ever play. And
that game is just hard.
I feel like the good Batman games are always like a step ahead of where they need to be. Like the NES Batman with like the jumping on walls, like the combat in that game was, even though it was only like, you could either punch people, you could throw like batarangs, or like shoot the bat gun, which was just kind of weird that you were shooting the bat gun and killing people with it. But besides that, like, it was very good, very ahead of its time for, like the late 80s. And then comes along, we're not going to talk about like Batman Forever, or the other couple other Batman games like on the PS1 or the PS2, but then come the 360 PS3 era, Batman Arkham Asylum just comes back and knocks it out of the park. Amazing game. Cannot praise it enough. Only game I think that's better than that in the Batman series is probably Batman Arkham City. I prefer Arkham City over Arkham Asylum. I think you differ a little bit, but I mean, either way, if you were to sit down and say, I need you to sit down and play Batman Arkham Asylum for the next 8 hours, I'll say, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, like next week, this is like saying, name your two favorite movies. Like, okay, they're both amazing movies.
Yeah, which
like,
one's your favorite?
Like one marginally more.
Yeah,
but,
which one's your favorite? Well, I could easily, like, do you prefer Terminator 2 or The Empire Strikes Back? I don't know, depends on my mood.
Terminator 2.
Yeah, but I mean, there might be times. Yeah, but there might be times where I'm like, The Empire Strikes Back is so much better, and then the Terminator 2 is so much better. Just what I'm feeling at the moment. Like, if I want the claustrophobic, tight spaces, Arkham Asylum. If I want to have like an open world to explore, I'm gonna play Arkham City. But both of the games, just Arkham Asylum, I think, has more going for it because it's in a contained space. Like, there's not a whole lot going on. You're in one building and one building only, whereas Arkham City, you're in a city, and it actually feels like a city because it's huge. It's not like it's, there's a city, but there's I can see all these buildings out there, but I can't really go there. Oh wait,
but even then,
yes,
like,
I can.
Arkham Asylum, but even Arkham Asylum is like, it's not even just one building. It's
an island.
It's a small area with different offshoots there. Like, it's got a hub world. It's essentially a hub world with different worlds off to it. Yeah, which it's not quite open world, but it's also not entirely linear.
Yeah, I feel like this Arkham Asylum might have been like a test pilot to see what they could do, because the game kind of ends. It could have ended. Like, they could have just been done at that point, but it did so well. It got such, rave reviews from critics and, gamers alike that they were like, we have something here. Let's keep going, which is making me kind of nervous that Arkham Knight's going to be the last one in the Rocksteady series, so there's only going to be 3. 4 if you count the Arkham Origins, which I don't. So it's I'm excited for Arkham Knight, but going back playing Arkham Asylum just makes it even better. Makes me remember how much fun I actually had playing this game, like the 20 to 30 hours I've put into it personally between PC, Xbox, and PS3. There is a this is the dumbest thing ever. They're releasing the Batman HD collection for Xbox One, PS4,
Yeah.
which it's not a bad idea. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad idea. But they should have done this they should have done this last summer. They should have done this last summer because cool, you're gonna release this after Arkham Knight. Why would I want to go back and play it at that point? Like, release it 6 months to a year before Arkham Knight, so I can start salivating again, kind of like they did with Halo. I feel like Halo nailed it. Gears of War is
didn't nail anything.
Well, they nailed the idea. They didn't really nail
the idea was great.
flowing.
The execution was horrendous.
Yes, the execution not so much, and I hope Gears of War is going to do the same thing because I think they said the Gears of War Ultimate Edition or whatever it's going to be called is supposed to come out this year, and I'm really hoping if they're going to do something else, I'm hoping they do with the next Gears of War game, whether it's Gears of War 4, Gears of War whatever, it'll be out like in a year and a half after that, so that way you can at least get the juices flowing again. But I feel like Rocksteady might have missed it. But I feel like there might have been like a sour taste because of Arkham Origins, so they might have not sure if they wanted to do that. But Arkham Asylum, if you haven't played it, do yourself a favor and play it.
It's the best.
It's pretty good.
Batman is the best.
I think there are better superheroes, but you know what? I won't
Shut
disagree
your
with you
face,
too
man.
much today. But
Shut your face.
if you guys enjoy the show, please make sure to give us a follow,
Green
like,
Lantern sucks.
whatever all that social media hoopla is today. But until next week, you guys, I hope everybody has a great week. And make sure to come back next week so we can finish off our 2 of 3 parts of Batman Arkham City. Then we'll be tackling a little bit of E3 news probably the following week or two after that. And then
Fallout 4.
And then Arkham Knight comes out the 22nd, 23rd. We'll probably give ourselves a week and a half to play that just so we can actually... I have a feeling we're going to put a lot of time in this. I have a feeling we're both going to put a lot of time into this, so we really want to give like a very good opinion and like a good synopsis of the game. So come ready, you guys. But once again, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
I'm Batman.